It's Jefferson, climbs the ladder. Oh my goodness! Come
Buenos dias, brochachos and brochachitas. What's going on? We're going to do some baseball today. It's very early. I get it. You know, I woke up this morning. I got first thing I looked at was my phone, and I got a text, and JSU said, "Hey, do you want to do a show?" And I said, "No, but I'm going to do it anyways." And actually, I'm actually looking forward to this now. Now, I'm on my second cup of coffee this morning, so if I'm gone for 5 minutes, I'm pulling a Lamar Jackson. Hopefully, I won't. Plus, I opened the windows so all of beautiful Castle Pines, Colorado can listen to this show. So free content in my neighborhood. Very excited about this. Last night was pretty awesome here in Denver. We got the Nuggets going up 2-1. We've got baseball. I watched a lot of baseball yesterday too, just because of that. And how about Elly De La Cruz, man? And good morning, DC, and good morning, JSU. DC, I'm just going to go to you. I don't give a shit about the rest of life except for Elly De La Cruz right now. Holy moly. We knew this kid was good. You want me to play it again? We knew this kid was good. Boy, is he exciting, man. I know it's 2 games. He's not going to be like this every game, but this kid is special. This kid's special. And I kind of looked at O'Neal Cruz and this guy, and this guy's better.
Yeah, that's what I said, even before these couple of games. Like O'Neal Cruz, their physical tools, I think, are the same. But you can just tell, like, the difference in, like, the joy that they play the game with between O'Neal Cruz and Elly De La Cruz. And baseball is like a hard sport to kind of display your athleticism, right? Like, it's just not really built for that. But man, we have seen it on display with Elly De La Cruz, obviously with the power. Watching him run around the bases is like, man, the stride length, he just is an absolute beast. And speaking of the new intro, I think we should have waited like 2 more days to make it, and Elly De La Cruz could have replaced Shohei Ohtani as the ball player there. But he's been awesome to watch. And then really fun matchup today against Clayton Kershaw. We'll see Elly De La Cruz switch around and bat from the right side. He's a switch hitter. Another cool thing about him, I don't think we've seen him hit from the right side yet, so that'll be interesting to see. And matchup, of course, with Clayton Kershaw is pretty fun. So, yeah, fun 5-gamer. We've got, I think, a 4-game slate in the afternoon. We're going to go over them both, I think, on the show. Obviously, we got the smoke stuff going on. I think they're going to play a doubleheader in New York. I think it's still planned. We'll see. I think it's supposed to clear out a little bit throughout the afternoon. So, yeah, fun day of baseball here for sure.
Yeah, Washington's pretty nasty too. Washington's nasty. Philadelphia's nasty. We got a lot of crazy smoke going on here. I put this up. Dude, Abe Toro, first of all, spell my name right. Second of all, I've been up 28 minutes. I don't need people being dicks this early in the morning. Put a smile on your face and get over yourself, okay? All right, Abraham Toro. Jeez, I mean, even DC doesn't say that until at least 20 minutes into the show. JSU, we were both watching the basketball last night. I hope the showdown went well for you. A lot of excitement here in Denver. I could see it. There's like prairie dogs running around. They're all wearing their Denver shit. And boy, I still think Miami gets another game, JSU. I really do. I think they get game 4. But when Jamal Murray's on, this thing's over. Just stick a fork in it.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much so. Jokic is getting his no matter what. If you listen to the Steve Kerr, Draymond podcast, they said the same thing. It's like, you can only do so much against Jokic. Like, you can only slow him down so much. Yeah, you can make him a scorer sometimes, but he's getting something. He's going to win in some area. Last night, he just kind of did a little of everything, and Jamal was just ridiculous. I mean, Jamal was really good. They got bench help, though, from a rook, which I don't think anyone really saw the amount that Christian Brown played from a role perspective. And, man, it's just this Denver team's tough, man. You get those 2 good players, and you just see it. Like, Miami's a great story. They're a great team. They're just not at the level. If both teams play at their height, they're just not at the level I think Denver can play to. And you knew it right away. Like, I saw Jamal fighting over screens, trying to get up in Gabe Vincent's shit because, Gabe Vincent was kind of talking to him a little bit in game 2, like, how could you leave me this wide open, blah, blah, blah. So you could tell right away that they were locked in, and I love to see it. I was on Denver. I don't know if Miami gets another game. But either way, I mean, I think Denver wins the series. I have them in 5. So hopefully that comes true because I did bet that. But, either way, I think Denver gets it done in the end. Heat, though, great story. Love the team, love the coach. Jimmy Butler's awesome, but they just might have ran into a team that's just a little too much for them to get by.
So I think when the parade happens here, you put Michael Porter Jr. in a caboose with a bubble over him, and that's it. You just leave him alone. No one could cheer for him. No one could. What the hell's going on with this guy? I mean, game 1, at least he was alive.
I said it. I called it, and Big T laughed at me. I said it, though. He goes, what guys lose their confidence? He's a professional. What are you talking about? When your coach sits you down for a rookie, your confidence is not going to be at his peak level. I'm sorry. I don't care if you're fucking a professional athlete or you're just like, a 18-year-old kid who's hooping. It doesn't matter to me. That's got to hurt because those professionals, they have egos. Like they have egos. They think they're the best. Guys like MPJ, I mean, he definitely thinks he's good enough to be out there, right, Holden? He doesn't think he should be riding the pine. So it's going to affect their mental state. And I called it after I said it to him, and Big T laughed at me. He's like, he's not going to get mentally. I'm like, I'm just telling you right now. And I think we're seeing a little bit of it on top of the fact that others are playing well, right, Holden? So it makes it almost easier for a coach when you're like, okay, Bruce Brown, Christian Brown, these guys are playing well, so we can do this. The Jeff Green thing, I'll never understand. But at least those two guys I can kind of get when they're rolling. So, yeah, I mean, we'll see. It's tough, though. I had some MPJ last night, so that hurt me. I still did okay. I didn't ship because I didn't have Christian Brown in the captain, which not many people did. So, that was that. But
yeah, you won some money. If you watch Kush the Mush and did what he told you to do, go the other way, under 22.5 PRA. I said, or Kush the Mush said, go over. You bet the other way, you're going to win some money. Now,
DC, this is too confusing with. So we have.
I was going to say the same
against.
Thing.
Yeah. So we have to bet against Holden. I don't understand.
This is like the ultimate free roll from Holden with the Kush the Mush, right? He can take credit if the bet that he says on camera wins. Okay, that's a win. If it loses, you say, "Oh no, my name's Kush the Mush. You should have been fading me." So yeah, it's a win-win situation. Honestly,
DC, it might be genius.
Yeah, I give him credit. It's a great way to go. So
I didn't think anyone was going to catch on to this soon, though, guys. I thought it was going to take a little while till you found the ultimate.
Well, you're not that smart, Holden.
I was going to say I shouldn't have used the word genius. That was I shouldn't have used that. That's my bad.
Well, hold on. Look at my title today. Real Man of Genius. That's who it is. I'm brilliant. Hey, DC, I do need to show you something. Now, usually at about 3:00 our time, PJ Stoner's saying this. I'm starting to think he actually wakes up early in the morning and just says "wake and bake," and that's his tagline. Your thoughts?
No, I think he gets up whenever the baseball is going to start.
Okay.
So his schedule is dictated by the start of the first big baseball slate of the day, which my schedule is also somewhat dictated by that. So, yeah, I respect it. Mr. Poe Degen Stoner, wake and bake indeed.
That's an early wake and bake today, but good job. Way to go. Blueberry headband wax and THC-infused sugar tank. Have a wonderful day, PJ Stoner, and I hope you win some money, and then you can go to the dispensary and clean them out. Let's get into this slate.
We the people really knows how to get to JSU. That's how you get to JSU early in the morning. Just bring up Ben Simmons in anyone's light. Someone like MPJ who's struggling right now. That's how JSU gets going on a nice early morning. I like it right there.
Yeah. Yeah. And Mr. Griff, listen, don't go over the edge like that. We do relaxing things here at RPS, relaxing things. We leave the energy I leave the energy to other people. Just relax. Okay. What do we got? A little 5-gamer here this morning. Hopefully I would think they're going to play everywhere right now. Before we get into this slate, DC and I live in the Denver area. This is your typical summer, but it started a couple of months earlier. It always rains here in the afternoon, or at least you get thunder and lightning. just from a weather standpoint, are you concerned at all? Because every 3 o'clock it starts, the lightning starts. Are you concerned anything about this Giants-Rockies game?
I wouldn't play either of these pitchers anyway.
Okay.
But if you were going to play them, yes, the weather would be probably enough to get me to move elsewhere. Just because we just have no idea when the afternoon storm's going to roll in. But like you said, it's pretty much been the daily occurrence, it seems like, for the last couple weeks. And, those weather delays, they almost always last at least an hour, probably enough to knock either pitcher out of the game if it does occur, in the second, third, fourth inning, whatever it is. So, yeah, Alex Cobb, Chase Anderson weren't really in consideration for me. But the hitters in Coors, the storms never last all day, right? So it'll clear up. They'll finish the game at some point, even if there is a substantial storm out here in Denver. So hitting-wise, not really worried about it at all. And pitching-wise, I personally don't think you should be playing these guys, the pitchers anyway.
Okay.
Do we have any other weather spots on this slate?
No, we're good.
We're good? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, just hold on. Washington, I mean, they're not going to call it Washington, are they? Smoke is really bad. I actually, when I woke up, huh?
I guess I don't know about the smoke issue there.
I texted my buddy who lives in Arlington, so that's across the bridge from DC, and he's like, dude, the smoke is horrific here this morning.
They'll have to the game starts in 2 hours now?
3 hours?
Less than 2 hours. So they would have to make that call relatively quickly. I would imagine you'll get that news on air if it is going to happen.
Yeah. So again, it does look pretty nasty. That smoke looks pretty nasty there, but it's not like New York. It's not like New York was yesterday. New York was, that's something else. That's different level apocalyptic.
Well, you have a different take than you had yesterday, Holden. Yesterday, you're saying they should play, that it wasn't any worse than it was in Colorado, which was
I think you just wanted them to play.
Yeah, I wanted them to play really bad because I wanted that 4K pitcher.
So did I. I wanted to see Lance Lynn out there huffing the fumes, but
I wanted to see Chalk Lance Lynn. I wanted to see that. It was going to be.
Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see if they play. Jeffrey Battaglia, thank you for the smoke update. Let's just go through the slate anyways. We got to get through pitching first. Up top, Clayton Kershaw in the bandbox in Cincinnati. Bailey Ober has to go up against the Rays today. Did we get a Rays lineup? Yeah, we got a Rays lineup, didn't we? Yeah, we got a Rays lineup. Do you see anyone that's out here, guys, from the Rays lineup?
The Rays lost. Well, Yandy Diaz not in the lineup, and then they did lose Brandon Lowe to the IL. So it's definitely a weaker lineup from the Rays. We've seen this offense cool off a little bit. They had to come down to earth at some point, but even the healthy hitters that are left haven't been performing well, and it is a little bit of a weaker lineup. We see this Rays total has been in free fall basically all morning. So yeah, I think Bailey Ober's interesting.
Yeah, should be. Okay, so then we got Ober. We got Alex Cobb here at Coors. We talked about the weather. If you're fine risking that, maybe they get 6 innings in 2 hours and he gets in there, fine. Maybe it's lower ownership. Josiah Gray pitched pretty well. Arizona bats have been hot. Colin Ray, Graham Ashcraft, then Chirinos and Chase Anderson starting here. So DC, I gave the names. You want to give a breakdown to those names?
Yeah, it's not a great pitching slate, honestly. Oftentimes that's the case on a 5-gamer. I think that's especially true here. To me, Clayton Kershaw does stand out as kind of the clear number one option. He's been, for the most part, pretty damn awesome this year on a year where pitching has been tough. He did have a couple of hiccups there, kind of around the time when his mom passed away. We talked about that, I believe, before his last start. I thought he would maybe bounce back from that. And he certainly did. Dominant outing against the Yankees last time out. I also think, it's not a sure thing for Kershaw here, right? It's obviously a really tough place to pitch in Great American. They've got, I believe, 9 right-handed bats in the lineup. And, Kershaw is definitely a great pitcher still, but he's not a guy that's a stone lock every time he's out there. But I do think he's clearly the best option here. He's got a pretty nice K prop, I think, sitting around, 7.5 with a little juice on the over. So really nice K prop for Kershaw. And if you want to play a little narrative street, I think maybe somewhat of a letdown spot for the Reds after that emotional victory last night. Obviously, all the De La Cruz fireworks with the first MLB home run. You had the walk-off home run to end the game against Will Benson. Now you got to, run it back early on a Thursday where Kershaw wasn't really involved in that game at all, right? He's kind of just preparing for this one. So I would expect him to be sharp, ready to go here, and maybe a little, hangover effect, maybe an actual hangover for some of these Reds guys if they coming off that great victory for them last night. So, yeah, I do think it's a pretty good spot for Kershaw. He is clearly my number one. After that, 3 guys that I'm looking at. Kyle Bradish, I think, is a little bit too cheap at 6,700. He's been up and down. I do believe in him long-term. Pretty good matchup against Milwaukee. Bailey Ober, I think, especially with that Rays lineup being a little bit weaker. You never like to pick on the Rays, but they've got a team total below 4, which we really haven't seen for the Rays much all season for a reason. Ober can go fairly deep into games. Pretty good strikeout guy. Pretty good place to pitch, obviously, in Tampa, so he feels decent to me. And then Merrill Kelly, he's been great. I am a little worried going on the road here. He's got some crazy career home road splits, so that's not ideal. And I just kind of think he's pitching over his head. But on this slate, you got to consider at least a few pitchers. So, yeah, I think it's close for me at SP2 between Ober and Kyle Bradish. And then Kelly would be the 4th. And that's pretty much it, honestly, for me with pitching. Those 4 guys are the guys in my pool.
Do you have any issues going with a Bradish Ober SP1, SP2?
I'm using Kershaw. I just think he's kind of clearly the best, and there's plenty of value on the slate to, but if there's if you really want the expensive Giants or the Dodgers and you need the savings, I think it's okay. I don't think Kershaw is going to deliver a huge performance here. So you could probably get away with going 2 cheaper pitchers if you wanted to. Yeah.
And then if you want to play chalk Dodgers, you can get different in other places. Okay. JSU, you're looking at the pitchers too. Is Kershaw going to anchor your lineups today, or are there other ways to go?
Man, so he does seem, obviously he's the safest. Now you can poke holes in like DC said, not a great ballpark really for pitchers. I could see a letdown. Kershaw is going to be massively owned, and who knows what happens with this Arizona-Washington game. If they, because of smoke, maybe weren't able to play or something like that, that takes Merrill Kelly out of consideration, which I do think he was going to get a ton of ownership. And honestly, I think it's going to push a lot to Kershaw and then slowly come down to these guys, because I don't think there's many other guys outside of Merrill Kelly and Kershaw. Maybe Kyle Bradish is going to get a decent amount of ownership too, but I think those are the 3 guys that people are flocking to as the most comfortable on the slate. I like DC's take with Bailey Ober because we very rarely see a Rays team total this low against a righty. And they've been really good all year. But I think Bailey Ober is good enough to get us, what we need on this slate to kind of move forward. So I'm playing between, rostering Bailey Ober and Bradish as my SP1, SP2 and fading Kershaw. But I think it's more just because I feel like the ownership is going to inflate. The more people don't know about the Merrill Kelly game, that situation, and then if we get it late, I think everyone's just pushing up. If he was your SP1 over Kershaw, I think they're just trying to find that 1,000 to get to Kershaw. So for me, I might fade the Kershaw ownership. I'm only playing 3 teams here, so that'll be one of my big stands from a leverage standpoint. Is I'm probably going to fade both Kelly and Kershaw and go Ober, Bradish, and the other pitcher that I could end up playing a little bit of is where is he? I just lost my place here, but Yanni Chirinos against the Twins, just to get that game stack. He's cheap enough, and I can get in a bunch of those Dodger bats if I get him in there at 5.9. I think he's also someone that could get me in the range. It was him or Colin Ray, and I needed a cheap pitcher, and I'm just going to go Yanni over Ray. But I think they're close. I think, you play one of those guys, you're looking for 10 to 12 points, but it's what they get you with the bats that really what I'm looking for, because I don't want to play a pitcher in cores. I don't want to do that. So I think I'm just going to take a chance on one of those cheaper guys who aren't going to get as much ownership outside of my two main pitchers, which will be Ober and Bradish, 1 and 2.
All right, so we're done with the pitching. It's time to get to the chat real quick. I don't know where this came from. It's completely random, but there's a definite demographic of people keeping Long John Silver's in business. I haven't seen a Long John Silver's in ages, but I do know that we had no money growing up, and that was like when we went out for dinner, that was the big place to go. Delicious. What are those? They got those little hush
I've
puppies.
only seen one of those in my area. Where are they Where are they like based out of, Holden?
I have no idea. We were in Virginia at the time.
Okay.
Well, yeah. Mr. Griff says these are the people that are out there supporting Long John Silver's, among us, voting, breathing. Nobody that's going to Long John Silver's on a regular basis is a voter. I'll say that much. They're not voting.
That's a great point. Well, I don't know about nobody.
There's very low correlation between the.
Okay. So a good percentage of them, Holden.
I got to ask my parents if they voted when I was young, because Long John Silver's and then Grandma and Grandpa were coming to town, Red Lobster, dude. And that was next door. That was next level shit with the popcorn shrimp. All right, let's keep going to the offense. Free show today. Yeah. So I see the code. So like button would be great for the first time. Let's go do that. We're going to go like button for Long John Silver's. You're not hitting it for our show. You're hitting it for Long John Silver's. And then Summer 33 is the promo code. It's, what's interesting is that it's good for weekly and monthly. The first payment's 33% off. So for those of you that say, oh, it's too expensive, we can't afford it, dip your toe in for a week and see how you do with the premium content. You're getting cores. These guys are giving you both their starting pitchers. They're giving you the 5 position players. We got a playbook as well. Let's see who did the playbook today. It is Gary. Gary is so
we're
scary.
back to a 4-game slate.
Huh? We're back to a 4-game slate. Nationals. The Nationals game is PPD. Okay. Listen. 4-game slate. So Axe, Arizona, Washington. We still got the Dodgers and Reds, Twins and Rays, Baltimore, Milwaukee, San Francisco, Colorado. Okay, well.
It's pretty much like, do you play cores or don't you on this slate?
No. And you know what Kenny Good People said in the premium chat? You also get our Discord, Summer 33, 33% off first payment. Live show chat. You get to talk with who's in there right now? AP was in there. I know you were in the NBA chat last night. You could talk to JSU. DC's in the baseball chat. Big T's around. All these guys are sitting there. You get a chance to talk with them. Dip your toe in for a week if you haven't ever done it. Summer 33. But let's get into these offenses then, because again, 4-game slate. And then we'll talk about later today as well. We'll get to that afternoon slate. But Doyer, Cincinnati, and Kenny Good People said, listen, just stack against the best pitcher on the slate. So he's saying go with Cincinnati, DC. The Dodgers have to be the chalk. I mean, they're just mauling the baseball out there. But let's start on the red side. So Elly De La Cruz, he's still only 2,900. I mean, the guy's going to be a 6K player here if he keeps doing this for a month, maybe even less than that, DC. But who are the guys we could take out? Maybe a mini stack from Cincinnati. Are you going to do that today?
I'm probably not, because I'm using Kershaw. But I mean, a 4-game baseball slate, like I think you can make a case for almost any strategy, right? Because even if the worst teams, well, they're going to be super low owned, and it's 1 game of baseball, and everybody's going to play Kershaw. If it is the Reds that go off, like it could happen. That's obviously, in that ballpark with the speed that this team has. Dodgers bullpen also pretty worn out over the last couple days, so if they do get to Kershaw early, the Reds could absolutely do it. Making lineups, it is pretty funny. Even when you have Kershaw in there, you need a value shortstop, and it's like the dudes that are around Elly De La Cruz down there for cheap. You're like, man, it's hard to click on them over Cruz. I think you'll see, obviously most people don't like to play a hitter against their pitcher. I do think you'll see quite a few Kershaw plus Elly De La Cruz lineups out there today. I totally get it. I don't think it's a bad strategy at all. And if you do want to stack this Reds team, I mean, yeah, for sure. It's obviously not that likely to work, but it's hard to win a GPP, and they could absolutely get to the top. So I think it's fine. But I do think the Dodgers are the best stack overall in the slate. Once you take out ownership, obviously, they're going to be heavily owned. I I think most people are going to try to fit in, or a lot of people rather, are going to try to fit in some combination of the Dodgers and the Giants, especially with the D-backs off the slate, who I think were in my opinion, the third best stack. And yeah, I think Graham Ashcraft pitching for the Reds has been brutal this year, especially recently. And the Dodgers and Reds have played these kind of high-scoring games the last 2 days, so we've seen both teams run to their bullpen to some extent. So, yeah, really good spot for the Dodgers. And Reds, I think, are definitely a reasonable contrarian way to go, too. So, yeah, I'm on the Kershaw train, but I totally get it. Anyone that wants to get different with the Reds.
And Dodgers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I mean, you could just mix and match all this, right, DC?
Yeah, I think Peralta and James Outman, specifically Peralta, I think is pretty likely to be pinch hit for in this one.
Okay.
But yeah, you can play most of these guys. The Reds do just have, looks like, one left-hander in the pen. So yeah, we should be pretty safe for most of the Dodgers lineup.
All right. JSU, you were shaking your head a little bit up and down. You're nodding for the Reds. Talk to me here. You got a little Reds action this afternoon?
I do think if you're not playing Kershaw, it's definitely not a bad idea to play a Reds mini stack if you want to get a little more leverage on top of it. It is a 4-game slate. So you are really, if you're fading Kershaw, you are rooting that he does get hit a little bit, right? So trying to take a bat or two is definitely a good strategy that I will look at. Obviously, De La Cruz is number one when you would go with that strategy. He is third and short now. So that's good. And you can play, McLean if you want to with him at third and short, or you could just take your catcher, maybe go Stevenson. But I like the idea of a Reds mini if you're not on Kershaw. And then, I'm on the Dodgers. On this slate, I think it's the Dodgers or Coors. Like one of those two sides. I think you want one of those two sides for bats. I'm going to lean more the Dodgers here and be heavier on that side than I am going to be Coors. So I will be full stacking the Dodgers on this slate for sure, because Arizona was my second favorite spot. So that stinks.
Are you just loading it up with, like, is everybody in the player pool from the Dodgers and you'll MME or what?
I think everyone except for Peralta, like DC said. I think he's the only one that I'm probably not going to play. But you got cheap bats everywhere. Like we'll talk about it, but there's plenty of cheap bats. Mm-hmm. There's cheap pitching for your SP2, even if you did spend up for Kershaw. So like, there's plenty of ways to make the Dodgers stack work with the studs, and get some cheap guys with it. So.
Okay, very good. That's one game in the books. The second game is the Dodgers and the D-backs, but they're not playing today. So we'll move on to Minnesota and Tampa Bay, and we'll roll right on. So Minnesota, Bailey Ober, Yanni Chirinos, the two pitchers. I don't know why I just threw a tilde in there. I think it's because JSU brought it up when he was saying it. Very fancy use of the tilde. You know what a tilde is? Nya. Chirinos versus Chirinos. You did a nyos.
Did I do it right or wrong, Holden? That's all I want you to tell me.
I just go Chirinos. I mean, that's Chirinos is how the broadcasters say it. But maybe if you went down to Central America, they'd say Chirinos. I don't know.
As a company known for its mispronunciations, I think this one is like very low on the list of things that need to be told out.
I feel like, DC, I started this trend too when we first started. So I'm driving the wagon, all right, for the mispronunciations. The grammar, the shit grammar, like all that stuff. That's just
If we had this level of scrutiny on the UFC shows, I'd be struggling to get through them.
Hold on, who's worse, Mangone or JSU with the pronunciations? DC.
Well, I believe it's JT Hayes who's most known for it. So
I think Mangone won.
That's a JT. I'm sorry to call him out, but that's a shtick right there.
Yeah. Well, you're not supposed to let him know, JSU. Now you just ruined the whole thing.
Well,
I didn't know it,
DC. I wanted it to be known. I'm number one because I'm authentic. All right, you can't fake it. All right, that doesn't count. JT should.
I do think Mangone is worse though. If we're talking
with me. Real. Like Mangone, you could tell him the right pronunciation and he'd still say it wrong. It's totally Mangone. You're number 2, JSU. So congratulations. You get a cookie, not a trophy. But let's just move on. Geniuses can't help themselves but to correct people or intellectual bullies. So let's do this. We've got Minnesota, Tampa Bay, DC. We talked about the Tampa Bay lineup being watered down. I don't know if you want to go there. What do we want to do with Minnesota first?
Yeah, I kind of like Minnesota a little bit here, but I mean, it's hard to have faith in this offense right now. They have been absolutely anemic for the last couple weeks. I just like the matchup against Yanni Chirinos. Sorry, Holden.
Chirinos.
Who, like, he's got like the lowest strikeout rate of any pitcher in baseball that's thrown at least 15 innings this year. I still somewhat believe in the talent, at least in the Twins lineup, even though they haven't been performing. So I think they're okay as a contrarian stack. They're pretty cheap as well. And I do like Bailey Ober, but there are definitely hitters in that Rays lineup. Josh Lowe and Luke Raley, I think in particular, that look good. And then, of course, they've got Wander Franco, Arozarena, the two maybe best hitters overall in that lineup between them. So, yeah, I think both stacks a little bit sneaky here if you want to go there. I looked at Chirinos. I kind of wanted to play him just as a cheap option, but I just couldn't do it with that low K rate. I do like Ober, and then, kind of just contrarian options as the hitting options in this game.
All right, very good. JSU, you want to play any bats from this game? Twins, Rays.
I mean, it's such a small slate that, you can definitely get some bats. I'm on Ober for sure, so I'm probably not going to play as much Tampa. Chirinos, you could go either way, so I understand playing the bat side or not. If I am, though, like Royce Lewis is cheap. They do have cheap bats, so it'd probably be more of a mini stack. And same with the Rays. I'm not full stacking either of these teams. Even though it would be a little unique, right, on a probably lower ownership on a small slate. So I get it from that standpoint, but I'm not going to be on it here.
Steve Boynton, Honey Nut Chirinos, going to give us 14 today. So Chirinos.
I'm in, Steve. I'm in, Stevie.
Yeah. I'll hear it. Steve's right here with the pronunciation. Mangone's Luis Robert pronunciation. He saw that video like 6 years ago when the guy lived wherever the hell he was living, and then he just started calling him Robert. So I don't get it too much.
There's no way Mangone's awake right now. No chance.
Oh, no. He said he'll go back. He won't even watch this. So Kenneth Singletary, how did you know that he can't spell?
He must be in the Discord. Holden.
Seriously, he's a savant. He's an idiot savant. He never was like well educated, but he's so smart elsewhere that he can overcome it. And now he's just
my parents just heard you call me an idiot, Holden. Thanks.
An idiot savant. It's different. Different.
That makes them feel better.
They should. I am not drunk because I don't drink, Spencer Smith. I don't drink. I'm just an idiot. Savant. So San Francisco, Colorado. Let's break this one down, guys. Again, DC and I are living out here. It usually rains somewhere around 3:00. The storms move in. This game starts at 1:10 our time.
What do you just skip Baltimore, Milwaukee?
Yeah, I did. Don't worry about it. I told you I'm an idiot. Okay? We can come back to that game. Just relax, JSU. This is karma for me doing that to you. Let's do San Francisco, Colorado. Okay? Just act like it never happened. By the way, put your head down again, little JSU. Let me see. Is he going bald a little bit, DC? Or is that just a tight cut?
I literally just got a haircut, Holden.
I'm just wondering. It's a male pattern baldness.
Go fuck yourself. All right, get us to this game.
That is not nice. That is really mean to say to somebody.
You just asked me if I was going. Well, you asked DC if I was going bald. So what do you expect?
Well, I mean, I needed a second opinion. So Colorado, and you know what? Screw you. Just because of that, we'll go back to Baltimore and Milwaukee, JSU. DC, let's break this one down. We don't have lineups for this game yet, but Colin Ray doesn't scare anybody. He gives up some bombs too. And then Bradish on the other side is a guy I like, but can you start with the Orioles side and give us a player or two here? Because I'm looking for an outfielder to fill out my lineup.
Yeah. Colin Ray's had a couple good starts in a row now. I'm really not a believer in him, though. I think regression's coming for him. So I actually like this Orioles squad quite a bit. I don't think we have a lineup out for them yet, but they normally roll out a pretty predictable lineup. The lefty bats, I think Adley Rutschman, top catcher on the slate. If Gunner's in there, I like him, Santander. So, yeah, I'm in on the Orioles for sure. I think they're a little bit sneaky. And like I said, Bradish, I'm considering kind of jumping ship over to the Ober train as my SP2 with Kershaw, but Bradish is now with the Nationals Diamondbacks game gone. Bradish is one of the three pitchers I'm considering, along with, of course, Ober and Kershaw. So I won't have much Milwaukee, but like we keep saying, 4-game slate, can't really just totally cross out any offense, I don't think.
Okay. What do you got from this game? So the Brewers O's.
I like this game. I think this game you could almost game stack it too in this way, because Ray and Bradish are going to get some ownership on the slate, especially Bradish, who I think comes in a little higher as an SP2. So I do like Bradish. I am going to play some Bradish, but I also think you can take bats against him and Ray as well, because Ray gives up bombs. So I'm in on both sides of this game. And do we have a lineup yet for?
No, we got no lineups.
So yeah, I mean, when we get the lineup, but I am going to like some pieces of this game. Joey Wiemer, this dude, 2,200, but he's been hitting. And there was one at bat he had against Andrew Abbott where he gave Abbott everything, hit a ball, foul, but it was a bomb. And he's just been really good at the plate. It looks really good to me when I watch him recently. Even before the 2-home-run game yesterday, he's looked really good to me. Just been crushing, and he's still 2,200. I don't know what the guy has to do to get a price bump, but at 2,200, I think you could even play him if you're playing Bradish. He could be a one-off. Just like Elly De La Cruz, I think you could play on this slate, even if you're playing Kershaw. I don't hate it right here. The dude's cheap. He's on fire. I think he's a really good play on this slate. I'm definitely going to have some Wiemer here.
Okay, one more game to get to. San Francisco, Colorado. So Alex Cobb going to the mound today. We've also got Chase Anderson. Chase Anderson, the numbers had been pretty good on him so far. But now the last two starts, he's given up 3 home runs total. Chase Anderson completely hittable here, right, DC? So any San Francisco bats, and do you want to even touch the Colorado side?
Yeah, you gotta love San Francisco here. Always some risk with the pinch hitting shenanigans with San Francisco. We don't have a lineup for either of these teams, I don't think yet. So obviously doing a little bit of guessing here, but yeah, Giants 6.5 team total. Chase Anderson, not any good. Frankly, I don't think he was ever any good, even when he was, in his quote unquote prime a few years ago. And he's definitely declined from that since. So yeah, I think Giants, Dodgers right there is, 1A, 1B, whichever way you want to put it for top stacks on the slate. I think you can go to Colorado. I mean, Alex Cobb does have good outings from time to time, but it's still Coors Field. And Cobb does get blown up as well. Kind of seems like he's a little bit of a boomer bust pitcher. So yeah, I like both sides. Nolan Jones for Colorado, kind of their, youngster that they've called up recently. He's been hitting. He's got power, speed, probably my favorite play along with Ryan McMahon. But you can certainly go to the other Rockies as well if you want to game stack this one. You can certainly do worse than that today.
Okay, very good. JSU, Giants-Rockies bats.
Yeah, I mean, I think people are going to be a little higher on the Giants, so I'll lean the Rocky side just from an ownership standpoint. And I'm with DC on the two favorite bats, Nolan Jones, Ryan McMahon. Whoever catches for them too, I'll probably be in on, whether it's Diaz or whoever. But yeah, I'm more higher on the Rocky side. So I think for me, looking at this slate, I think I'm going to go Dodgers, Rockies, and then Milwaukee, Baltimore, almost mini stacks is going to be how I look at this slate. So Dodgers, Rockies, full stacks, and then mini stacks with Milwaukee and Baltimore is kind of how I'm looking at attacking it from the bats.
All right. Any thoughts on FanDuel DC that we have here? Kershaw 10-4. Merrill Kelly is off the slate, so it doesn't matter. What do you got here? Any thoughts on FanDuel, whether it be pitching or offense?
Yeah, I'm rolling Kershaw. If you're not, you probably want at least a red or two because he's going to be very, very popular. If he pitches up to his expectation, I think it's going to be very tough for any other pitcher to match him. So I think he's the play, but probably be 70% owned. So if you want to go a different direction, I get that. But yeah, most of the other analysis is the same. Not hard to fit in most of these bats today. And you can kind of just, for the most part, play whatever you want. So I don't know. Pretty much the same analysis as DraftKings on FanDuel for me.
All right, JSU, anything on FanDuel, or is it the same thing?
Yeah, I pretty much the same. I'm probably going to, on FanDuel, my main team, I'm probably going to go with Ober. But yeah, I mean, if Kershaw is probably the safer one, but yeah, it's pretty much the same from a pitching standpoint. I got one team over there, and yeah.
All right, let's break it up here. We are going to talk about what is now a 4-game slate because we got a doubleheader with the Yankees, and the Yankees and the White Sox are already not on this slate, so they'll be all redded out. So we got 5-gamer, which is now a 4-gamer. We'll have Houston, Toronto, Boston at Cleveland, the Mets at the Braves, and the Cubs visiting the Angels. So those are the 4 games that we have in the afternoon. We'll obviously just do a broad brush over that because we really we're 7 hours away from that slate starting. Let me just remind you, if you get a chance, hit the like button. That would be completely awesome. Would really appreciate that. Helps us with an algorithm, whatever that is. And then
I wanted to say too, real quick, I do agree with Landa that if you go like the Bradish route, it's going to lend everyone into similar builds, I think, with just spending up for all the high price bats over there. But it will be somewhat different just because of how cheap Bradish is. So, yeah, I mean, if that's your plan, I do think most people are going to go with a Kershaw, an Ober. So if you wanted to just spend down and get all the high price bats and stuff like that, you could do it. Cause like he said, you can get any 4 you want. Again, though, I do think it lends everyone to just going Dodgers and Giants because you're going to have all this money to spend. So maybe going like a 4-2-2 where your third team is a team that's kind of off the beaten path from the main 2 and finding 2 of your favorite bats from there, or like a 4-3-1 where you get like that one off that's really low owned. Because I will say, just if you stack Giants and Dodgers, even if Bradish comes in a little lower, you're still, a lot of people are going to, who do that are going to stack the same 2 teams.
Very good. Let's Summer 33% off first payment, weekly or monthly plan. Sign up for the monthly, lock it in, get 33% off now. Get it through football season. Just hang on to it. And then we got NBA and everything else. We're still doing NBA Showdown content. There is a game tomorrow night as well. So we've got that. Lots to offer here at RPS Run Pure Sports. You can add the bet side for $20. Joey Work, JJ, rest of the crew. By the way, I do want to shout out, and she's probably not watching. I think she has a real job, but Susie, our tennis expert, our tennis analyst, our lead one, she has been killing it. She was killing it on the French Open content. And then last night I see she won like 10 grand in NBA. Susie, just complete sleeper. We don't talk about her enough. Susie is sensational. So if you play tennis, go check it out. She's one of the best in the biz. She's won a lot of people a lot of money. Let's go to the night slate, guys. Again, we're 7 hours away from the start of that, 7 hours, 19 minutes to be exact. But 4-gamer with the Yankees, the White Sox off the slate because it's a doubleheader. So no Clevenger, no Vasquez. But DC, we do have some good pitchers up top. Spencer Strider, is he worth paying $12K? Framber's 10-4. Barrios 8-8. Verlander 8-6. I guess we can run down the whole slate here, but up top, you got to have one of these guys up top on DraftKings, don't you? And then we got Matt Dermody coming up, making his start. He's called up from AAA, and a guy that has not pitched well in the majors. So what do we got for starting pitching this evening?
Yeah, Spencer Strider. I mean, if you just been you just played him every slate since he basically, since the beginning of last year. You've probably done pretty well. Of course, baseball, nobody comes through in every single slate, but like even his bad games, right? He still gets you strikeouts. Kind of a tough matchup here against the Mets, but yeah, I do think Strider is the SP1, certainly the guy with the most upside on this slate. But we do see another relatively high total in Atlanta, kind of like we saw last night. I think that game ended up 7-5 or 8-6 because of the weather, right? It's super warm, wind blowing out in Atlanta, ball will be flying. We saw Max Scherzer even I think he might have gotten 10 strikeouts in the end, but he did give up some runs as well. And I think we could see something similar in this game. I think Strider will get strikeouts. He is my SP1, but he's very expensive. He'll be popular, $12K. Valdez is kind of the opposite of Strider, where he is a safer option, but not nearly the K upside. He does have a pretty tough matchup here going into Toronto as well. I do prefer Strider over Valdez at the top end there. Verlander's the one that I'm not going to play. It just hasn't been quite the same this year pitching for the Mets. And yeah, I kind of like the Braves here. We saw what they did to Scherzer last night. Could see a similar outcome against Verlander. And I don't think that many people are going to want to stack against Verlander, despite the Braves' relatively healthy team total. So I do like the Braves quite a bit. Barrios, it's actually been pretty good. You remember he was so bad last year, was bad at the beginning of this year, has seemingly turned it around, but I still don't love the matchup against the Astros. Hard for me to pay that. And then beyond those guys, I do kind of like the two. Like is maybe a little bit strong of a word, but Reed Detmers against the Cubs, who have been awful, I think is a pretty decent spend down all the way down to 6,500. Still a believer in him. He's been not great to start the year, but I still think the strikeout upside is there, especially against this Cubs team that really just hasn't hit for weeks now. And then if you really want to get different, I don't hate going all the way down to old Matt Dermody for the Red Sox. Actually pretty decent numbers down in the minor leagues. Also have been stretched out to 100 pitches. I think if he's pitching well, he could, give you 5 or 6 innings. This Cleveland lineup really hasn't hit all year. And Dermody's 4K and probably nobody's going to play him, I don't think. So I think, he's reasonable to spend down on, if you want to get the very best hitters on this slate. I think that makes some sense at least. So, I think a few different pitchers in play. I think I would probably start with Strider and then figure it out from there based on kind of where you're going with your bats.
Okay. I'll just say this, and I'm not going to get into politics or anything like that, but there are many baseball fans who are upset about this guy getting called up in Pride Month, and I'll leave it at that. And that's it.
Who, Dermody?
Yeah, do you remember that? The tweet he sent out?
No, no idea.
It did not go well for him. We'll just put it that way. All right, JSU, let's go. Pitching. I know he's thrilled I brought that up. Pitching.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. I don't even know what you're talking about. So
good.
Yeah.
Good.
The good thing about this slate, and I think it's the reverse, Spencer Strider, I feel like we're all going to want to spend up for. So we at least get that pitcher. It's kind of like the Kershaw, but I do think the SP2 options are a little better on this slate. Because, I don't have to talk as much about Strider. DC already brought up the points. I'm going to play him here. But I think Reed Detmers against the Cubs, I'm definitely going to attack this spot. Again, I attacked it yesterday. I'm going to attack it again with a cheap pitcher, 6,500. So that's an easy SP2 pairing, I think. Outside of that, though, I could see myself playing a Jose Barrios if I had a cheap stack and could make it work. But I think I'm going to be more cheap. So if, DC says this Dermody kid could get me 10 fantasy points or something like that at 4K, I'll take a shot on him at 4K. Why not? Against Cleveland, I'm in. Here. So I think it's more Strider and then going cheap with my SP2 with that either Detmers or Dermody is the way I'm going to play this slate. And I actually like the idea of stacking against Verlander as well. So I'm going to be on some Braves And with those cheap guys, I'm going to be able to get those Braves, and even with Strider.
I did look up. I did the Twitter search on Mr. Dermody. You are correct, Holden. People are not too happy with this.
No, they're not very happy.
I'll read one tweet. I'm a Red Sox fan, but I hope Matt Dermody gives up 700 runs tomorrow and gets hit with a 120-mile-per-hour line drive back to the mound after giving up 700 runs, which some of them get a little more vile than that, but yeah.
So we know what DC's Twitter threads are going to be about tonight, people. Stay tuned.
No, DC.
Come on down, Mr. Matt Dermody.
DC, what happens when he throws a gem and everyone's just like up and they're just going nuts?
If you can ship with Matt Dermody, you can post a screenshot and then really troll people with the politics too.
I mean, let's be honest.
So you're going to play him just in hopes you ship with him so you can troll.
I'm absolutely more likely to play him at this point.
We don't give a shit.
Not because I agree with his politics, just for the troll potential.
I want to win money, and if he's going to open it up, then he's going to open it up. Shit.
Well, no guarantees he's going to help us win money, but it would be.
I mean, Holden, he might give up a zillion runs and get hit with the line drive back. We don't. And
then I'll hate him too. And I'm not going to be happy with him, and I'll send him mean stuff. That's just the way it is. Hell, I'd have played O.J. Simpson if he was in the player pool and would have won me money back in the day, but he did it after he retired.
I mean, Mike Vick, Mike Vick in his prime, I would have definitely played Mike Vick, and he got killed for the dog.
Dude, you want to know? I had a fundraiser. I had people dropping off dog food, just to spite Michael Vick after that whole thing happened. I had a guy donate a hand signed Virginia Tech jersey, and we just I think they sold it in an auction for like $50. The thing's worth thousands of dollars now. It's just like Michael Vick, man. It was
if Mike Vick could, if I told you Mike Vick would win you like $100,000 in DFS if you played him, everyone in his name, they're
not
playing
bothering Michael Vick.
That 100,000
has nothing to do with Mike Vick. It has everything to do with me winning money. He don't give a shit.
Yep.
Yeah. Here's Boynton. You know what, Boynton? I'm not even kidding you. I remember being in a dog park, buying Apple stock, and going back and forth with you on Twitter about Michael Vick and Virginia Tech. So you can probably go back and find the tweets, or you can't, and I'm just making it up in my mind. Anyways, let's move on. Again, no White Sox Yankees. We're doing the afternoon slate or the evening slate right now. If you wanted any of the slate that's about to start in 45 minutes or so, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less. If you want anything to do with that slate, just hit rewind, go back, and hit the start of the show because we broke it down pretty big. Houston, Toronto. What do we want to do here? Barrios, Valdez. I mean, people probably aren't going to play this game too much from an offensive side. You want to pick a part or two here, DC, tonight?
So I was distracted by the Matt Dermody Twitter.
Were you just reading all the stuff? You were, or weren't you? I shouldn't have brought it up, but I had to.
I'm glad you did. What was your question?
Just Toronto, Houston.
Throw it to me. I hold it.
All right. You know what, JSU, you're on point. You're not reading tweets.
Because I'm not going to play. This is an easy game for me because even though I might not play these pitchers, I'm probably not going to stack against these pitchers either. So Barrios has been solid, like DC said. Valdez, I'm just probably not going to go here for bats. So this is an easy stay away spot for me. I would assume DC's kind of in line here with that take. Perfect.
Yeah. He's nodding his head, so we can go through that game and get rid of it. Boston.
I mean, he said yes. You just weren't listening, Holden.
Yeah.
Clearly said yes.
Yeah, he said yes. Well, Matt Dermody's 4K, DC. Do you want to go with him or you want to go against him? If you're only making one lineup today, this is Boston at Cleveland. Savali, Dermody.
Yeah, I think we got Dermody, we got Spencer Strider, a little Brave stack, and we'll be buying a Matt Dermody jersey at the end of the evening after he hits for us.
Will you be stacking against Mr. Dermody in one lineup and then playing him in another?
That does seem like a pretty decent way to go, yeah. But no, I mean, it's another good pitching environment in Cleveland. It's kind of been like this the last couple of days. So, yeah, I won't really be on the offense as much here. And Savali's okay at 7,800, but I think I'd rather spend all the way up or all the way down a pitcher today.
Okay. JSU, second game.
Yeah, I agree with DC. It's just not the greatest environment. Obviously, the pitching though, you could clearly attack them. I just have two spots that we're going to get to next that I'm going to be more on. So I'm going to be off this game as well.
All right, pretty easy. Strider, Verlander, Mets, Braves, DC. Again, if you want to pick a bat or two, go for it. Are you going to stack against Verlander tonight?
Yeah, Braves my favorite stack tonight. Just Verlander, I think he's still a good pitcher, no question, but he's always been home run prone, and that's been especially true this year in this weather, this lineup that he's facing. I think the Braves, of course, some people are going to play them, but I do think they'll be lower owned than they should be. And I think they could absolutely do damage to Verlander in that Mets bullpen as well. Not going to play any Mets against Strider. Planning to play mostly Strider myself in my own lineups.
It's supposed to be hot there, like usual, though.
Oh, yeah.
Low 80s, upper 70s, wind blowing out tonight. So go pick the right guys from the Braves. Get yourself a home run. JSU, you want some Braves tonight? And is there even a one-off against Strider?
Yeah, I do want Braves. Great hitting weather. And I will say, if you're fading Strider, I'll just use the same take from the Kershaw take, but you probably want to take a bat or two from New York on this really small slate because you're hoping that he gives up a few runs. He gets hit a little bit, maybe gives up a bomb or something like that. So I will say, if that's the case, Pete Alonso is probably not in the lineup tonight, right? DC, he's probably out, I would assume, but you'll be able to take a bat or two if you want to go there. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to stick with the Braves. Verlander's had this trend too, where he's been solid, but he's gotten hit a few times this year. So it's not like he can't, teams can't get to him, especially a team like the Braves in great hitting weather. I'll take the chance on the good offense, even going up against a solid pitcher, and take my chances on this small slate.
Very good. We got one more game to get into because the White Sox and Yankees is a doubleheader. It won't be on the night slate. Cubs, Angels, Smiley, Detmers. So maybe this will be a popular game for bats too. Ohtani's always in play. Trout's always in play. I feel like I always bring this up to you. Joe Adell is back. Can we talk about Joe Adell for a second, DC? Like, how many more shots is he getting? He's only 24, but it seems like he was called up 5 years ago and he just hasn't gotten it. What's going on with Joe Adell?
Yeah, he's like kind of the epitome of what they call like a quad A player where he can crush AAA pitching, leading, I believe, the PCL in home runs this season, but he can't hit the major league pitching, right? So he's kind of right between, but clearly talented, clearly has a ton of power. So, 2,500, Drew Smiley, not a terrible matchup for him. I think he's a reasonable play, and, I do like the Angels a little bit. They do hit lefties well, Ward, Trout. You could play Adele, Drury, Urshela, all those guys. And, of course, Ohtani always in play against anybody. So, I think the Angels, my second favorite stack after the Braves. I won't be going to the Cubs. I will have some exposure to Reed Detmers.
Okay. JSU, last game of the night.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with DC. This is my second spot with the Angels here. I'm not going to be as much on the Cubs because I'm going to play some Detmers. I'm going to be on the Angels, and guys like Drury's been hitting good. Obviously you can play the obvious guys like Trout, Ohtani, but Taylor Ward has been pretty good too. So I'm going to take some of these Angels bats. I think you can full stack them if you want against Smiley, and go with that. So Atlanta 1, Angels 2 for my stacks here.
Okay, let's go back to the early slate. And we'll get some plays of the day, okay, guys?
Lineups, too, just for people in Orioles and Brewers. Just notable, no Mateo, like Steve Boynton said in the chat. He's not in the lineup for the Orioles. And Singleton's in there for the Brewers, who's cheap. And
your boy Weimer's in there.
Hitting ninth. I like that. Keep him down there.
Keep him down. That's what the man wants to do. Okay. DC, play of the day on the morning/afternoon slate.
Morning play of the day. We will go with Mr. Adley Rutschman.
Ooh, little Orioles mini or Orioles full?
Yeah, you could do either one. I think I like the lefties, especially here. And we'll go right to the afternoon. I've been sticking with him, and he's finally getting hot. Michael Harris down in the 9-hole. He's heating up, and I think he's about to go on a run. Maybe we'll get a double 9-hole special, JSU. You with Weimer on the early slate, me with Harris on the late, and get some money.
Okay. What do you got, JSU?
Damn, I like the Harris call. That's a good one. So I'm going Joey Weimer as my player on the early slate, 2,200, nice and cheap. Dude's been hitting good. I hope it continues here. And then on the late slate, I'll stick with the same team, and I'll go Eddie Rosario, who's also been hitting really well, and he's still cheap, 3,300 for the Braves. So, we'll get that nice cheap outfielder combo, DC.
Love it.
Yeah, give me a little Tyro Estrada. Is he going to be too high owned for this? And then George Springer with a leadoff home run today in the night slate. No one's going to be on George Springer. Oh, no. Take it back. Bichette. Give me Bichette. Bichette just hits a home run every freaking night. I think that's it. Like every time I look at him, let me see how many. He's got back-to-back home runs, back-to-back nights. Yeah, give me Bo Bichette. I'll play a little Toronto tonight and donate to the rake. So there you go, guys.
You know who's been a stud this year that you called before the season? Corbin Carroll's been a stud. How do you view like the Carrolls, the Elly De La Cruz? Like, are they just close to each other? Do you think Cruz is going to be like on a different level?
No, I mean, I don't like Carroll.
Carroll's
going to be as studly as they get. If Elly De La Cruz is able to do what Carroll's done for these first 2 months, that would be, I think, like a 95th percentile outcome for Cruz. I think Cruz is still going to have some growing pains, right? The physical tools are amazing, but I think he will have a pretty high strikeout rate, maybe starting today, frankly. Whereas Carroll, I don't really have any weaknesses, honestly. He's incredible, too. He hasn't really been as hyped, I don't think, as he's deserved, given how good he's been as a rookie.
No, and he's starting to hit bombs, too. Like,
he was my favorite play today, so kind of disappointed that game.
I know. I'm so mad I wanted to play him. I mean, I play him, like, whenever I play the Diamondbacks, he's just, you kind of like, he's an automatic for me. You just got to put him in there. But I love Carroll.
I do agree with Steve Boynton here. Carroll's like even money to win Rookie of the Year, which I think the number got better just because of Elly De La Cruz's 2 days, but like Carroll's got a 2-month head start on him. Like Cruz would have, unless Carroll gets hurt, he will, I think, win that NL Rookie of the Year. So yeah.
Cruz's numbers would have to be ridiculous to catch what Carroll. If Carroll can somewhat consistently keep it going.
For sure. Unless he gets hurt, he's going to win it, I think.
God, I can't stand betting futures, especially in baseball. Just because the guy has 90-something more games to go, and you have to stay healthy. You got to stay on the field. But yeah, he does have a 2-month advantage on him, no question. And the Diamondbacks are good. That's the difference. Like he might be their best hitter on one of the better teams in baseball.
He's like a dark horse MVP candidate.
That's.
I think he is their best hitter.
For sure. He's their best player.
There's nobody better.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like I don't think there's anyone better.
Yeah. So he's been pretty good. Okay, great stuff. Summer 33% off. That'd be wonderful. We got any other shows coming up today, JSU? I haven't had a chance to look at the schedule because we're running, instead of the baseball show tonight, we're doing this today. So we ran it down. And for the subscribers out there,
showdown show later tonight, I think. And then I'm pretty sure we're going to be getting back to 2 shows probably next week or the week after. So, but the timings might change. So stay tuned for that. Not for you, Holden.
Not for me. Okay, good. Yeah. Because this is fun though. I'm glad we woke up. We talked some baseball. We'll move on. Summer 33 is a promo code for those of you know the routine. Later for that 4-game slate, because we've had 2 games. We had 1 game watched today. We had 2 games watched tonight, especially with the Yankees and the White Sox, right? So make sure you get in the Discord. I'm sure our guys will be in there, whether it be DC, AP, JSU, Big T, maybe all of them. Get into the Discord. Ask the guys some questions. I didn't put up the graphics today for the play of the day, so I just did want to put this up here because this is the best GIF we've ever had here. 100%. I mean, there's
you're supposed to do that before my play.
I know, and I forgot, but it was great. I just have to play that at any point in time that I can. For DC JSU, I'm Holden. Thanks for checking out the show here at runpuresports.com. Promo code SUMMER33.